Hello, welcome back to the class. So in the last session, we were discussing about the positive and normative science, right? So what is a positive science and normative science? See, it's very simple to make decisions, which is correct and which is wrong. You are taking a decision. Is this the ethical way, or is it the right way to do business? When you're taking decisions, when you're deciding something, whether it is right or wrong, that comes under normative science. You are taking decisions. You are giving some judgment and you are giving your opinion. So when you're just giving your opinion on something, that's called as normative science. But positive science is like just as it is, whatever happens, okay, we're just recording it as it is. That is called as positive science. So there is always a debate whether any science, for example, any social sciences, whether it is philosophy or it is economics, whether it should be a positive science or normative science. Of course, we agree that when it comes to international or national problems, for example, when it comes to the hygienic problems or when it comes to the safety of the food, anything which is related to that, whether it is national authority or international authority, they have to take a call and they have to make sure that quality supersedes everything or safety supersedes everything, or there has to be ethical way of business. This is very true to the spirit. There is no doubt, no debate. But you have to understand one thing. Only when you know there has been surpassing of lot of rules, regulations, and there is illegally lot of, how do you call, there's a lot of hoarding, black marketing, these things are happening. This data of happening, this is the fact. Yes, it is happening. Lot of women trafficking is happening. A lot of child are being kidnapped. Child trafficking is happening. Drug transfers are happening. If you are 100% sure about the data that you receive, only then you will be able to take a call on it. Only then you will be able to take a decision, which means whether something happens or not, who decides that? Who gives the authenticity to the data? It is positive science. So if there is no positive science, you will have no data upon which you will take decision. See, first of all, you should have some data, right? Between the age of 16 to 24, people are smoking. How many people are smoking out of 100? Out of 192 are smoking. Oh my God, this is alarming. We really have to curb it. We really have to bring it down, which means this 92%, that is the data. That is the collection of data. That is sample collection. That is how you record things without passing any judgments, without saying that this is wrong, you should not drink, you should not smoke, this is not the right way of doing things. You can't say that, because you first have to understand your economy. You just have to understand your system. Only when you understand your system, you will be able to take a decision. So before taking a decision, like before deciding what ought to be done, you should know what is happening. So what is happening can be known only when there is a unbiased, okay, whether it is correct or wrong, I will record the data. He's smoking, okay, I'll say he's smoking. He's not smoking, he'll not smoke. I'll say, I won't go and tell him that you're smoking, you're underage, you're below 18, this is not good for your health, this is not good for your family, your future will be ruined. I don't want to take those how do you call, ethical propaganda into the data collection, because when I do data collection, I have to be 100% sure about the happening around me, which is actual. Okay, what is actually happening, I have to record it. Whether it is about the women trafficking, whether it is about the child trafficking, whether it is about the pollution data, whether it is about the noise pollution created by a company, or some river pollution like water pollution, whatever it is, I am there to collect data. So the data collection work depends upon the positivity. Whatever happens, let me record it. Only based on this data, people are going to take decisions. So my data has to be error free. My data has to be factual. My data has to be the actual reality which is happening in the environment. And after that, if I see that the decibel level of noise pollution is too much, of course, government will take a decision. Now, when government is taking a decision, when government is coming up with some judgment, or when government is coming up with some policy, in order to reduce the effect of this noise pollution or water pollution, that is called as normative economics or normative science. So, have you understood what I'm trying to tell you? Positive is whatever is actual reality, ground level, whatever is happening, that is positive. Normative is what ought to be done, what can be done. Okay, is this the right way of running a company or is it not? What should I do? All these questions and the answers that you come up with, that is called as normative science. So this is what they're trying to tell you. Okay, so make sure you understand this table, okay, this diagram. And then they're talking about business economics. So of course business is representing, what is a business? Business of course takes a lot of raw material, lot of inputs, and then do some process, change it into output. Okay, yes or no? You see all the companies here, Elon Musk is taking a lot of raw materials and converting that into cars, Tesla cars. And then there is phone factory, of course mobile phones are being built on raw materials and labor and all that. And here you have Ola or Uber app. What is the input that they take? They take a lot of inputs like the availability of autos or cabs, and then the availability of people, and then they use a software, okay, to connect people who want to ride and who are the drivers. So these are all the inputs which is then processed to give you some output. The output might be a service or it might be a good. For example, in case of Tesla, okay, in case of Tesla it is a good, right? It is a good in case of Tesla. But when it comes to Ola and Uber, they are giving you a service. What is the service they're offering you? They're offering you the ride hailing application. So the ride hailing app is a service that Ola or Uber is giving to the customer. Same way, whether it is good or service, we're just converting all the inputs into outputs. So that's what they're trying to tell you, transforming a set of inputs and that is being turned into output. This is what they're trying to tell you. And then, wait a second. Do we have, we'll take blue. Nice. Okay, now they're trying to tell you inputs. What do you mean by input? Of course, men, labor, and then the capital, and then the entrepreneurial risk that they're taking, everything will come under the input. And process, of course, what you do with the inputs, and then you get an output. These are all very, very, very basic things. Okay, land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. These are called as inputs. Okay, these are called as inputs properly. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. These are called as 4 factors of production factors, or these can also be called as inputs. Okay. Then we have output. What is an output? Output means any good or service. So how many different types of goods or service do you have? Of course, we have consumer goods. For example, how about you have the speakers or headsets? These are all consumer goods. What is a producer goods? I've told you about, right? The machine that we have for painting the car. Okay, the machine that paints the entire car in one go. That is a producer good, because producer is using the good in order to produce something, in order to process something, or in order to end up with a consumer good, right? So when we have consumer goods, we can write an example of a headset that you use. And then when we're talking about producer good, obviously some raw material like charcoal or iron or the coal that is used for the production of energy, these are all called as producer goods. So sometimes the coal that you take from a raw format from mine, it is not a good actually, it is just mining. Okay, what is a good? When the basic coal is being processed, which can be used in order to do the energy production, then it comes as a producer good. See, basically producer good is a good which only the producer uses. Who is the producer here? Producer is the person, or he is the entrepreneur who is actually involved in the process of production. So any goods that the producer uses in his factory to produce an output, that is called as a producer good. And what is a capital good and what is a private good? So we have this private good which is only used by you or me, because I have a shirt only I can wear, not the entire public can wear. Okay, and then there are capital goods where, for example, capital goods would mean money. Here the capital goods, I'll tell you an example. What is a capital good? Tractors we use. Tractors are not used for consumption, but they're used in terms of production. So that is a capital good. And then we have public goods. I told you, no, railway Wi-Fi. Did I tell you in the last class? In railway station, we have free Wi-Fi, no? That is a public good. Everybody can use, no? Everybody can use. It is a public good. Marina Beach, it's a public good. Anybody can go. So which is a public good which is available to all. if for example, if I'm using the Wi-Fi, doesn't mean that you can't use it. I can use, you can use, simultaneously hundreds of people can use. So that is called as public good. But when it comes to this shirt, what happens? Only I can wear, because this I've bought, which means this belongs to me. So private good can be owned by a person. Public good cannot be owned by anybody. Public good is publicly owned. Okay. And then we're talking about merit goods. What is a merit good? Merit goods are goods which are essentially important for the living, essentially important for life. Example, food, clothing, shelter. So these are all the merit goods. Sometimes education is given at free of cost by government to everyone. Even that is a merit good. Merit good would mean which is good for you, which is healthy for you, which is giving you welfare. Government is giving you free food, government is giving you some free education, or government is giving you higher education at a subsidized cost. Anything that government or any public sector or even you do it for yourself, which is going to be meritorious for your life. Merit good means good goods, nice goods, welfare oriented goods, which is healthy for you, which is good for you. That is called as merit goods. And what is a non-merit good? Alcohol, everything, tobacco, everything will come under the non-merit goods. And then there are two types of goods called as a durable and non-durable. For example, a mattress that you buy or a fridge, washing machine that you buy is a durable good. Durability, for a long duration you can use, more than once you can use, that is called as durability. But when it comes to Apple or any other products which is perishable in nature, which can be used only once, that is called as non-durable goods. This is non-durable because it won't be available for use for more than one time. So this is durable and non-durable. And then we're going to talk about, first we'll talk about this and then I'll go to this part. Okay, so we're talking about, see, when it comes to the exact subject, there is no escapism at all. You really have to read it line by line because it is very important in examination. The intensity of your interest in class, that's not going to matter. What is going to matter is that when they ask an examination, the Wealth of Nations book, it was written by Adam Smith in the year dash, that's all. Whether you know about Board, whether you know about Elon Musk, everything is washed out in front of you. If you do not know, it is 1776. So there are certain things that you have to be very, very, very meticulous about. You have to be meticulous when it comes to studying. Okay. So they say economics is a word which has its origin word from Greek language. The word is called as oikonomia. This oikonomia, the meaning for this word oikonomia in Greek is household management. So household management is the meaning of the word oikonomia. It can further be segregated into oikos plus neimen. Oikos means household. Neimen means management. So oikonomia, the household management. Okay. So till 19th century, economics was known as political economy. So economics as a subject, only after 19th century we are talking about economics as a subject. Before that it was only about political economy. We were only studying about the macro level of national or international issues. That is why they are telling it as a political economy. And then the book named as Wealth of Nations, which is written by Adam Smith, it was released in the year 1776. Be very, 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 very careful. The book was released in the year 1776. And then we have the entire name of the book, the full name of the book, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. Actually, Adam Smith wrote this book, and this book tells you why America is very rich and why some African countries are very poor, what makes a country rich and richer, and what makes certain set of countries poor and poorer. So he is actually observing what makes a country richer and what makes a country poorer. And that is why this name, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations. Nations would be a lot of nations, and certain nations are wealthier and certain nations are not wealthier, and he is trying to observe it and ask why. So this book is called as An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations. Simply put, it is called as The Wealth of Nations, written by Adam Smith in the year 1776. Okay, it is from the Greek language oikonomia. Okay, oikos plus neimen or oikonomia, the meaning is what? Household management. Okay, and then we are talking about this Hindenburg. No, this is actually an example. I've written it for my purpose. This is the actual, one second. Okay, this, no, wait a second. What to produce, when to produce, for whom to produce. This is very, 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 very important. This is called as actually central problem. Central problem of economy. For any economy, for any company, for any individual, these are all the basic questions we need to ask. What are you going to produce? Even if you ask me, what am I producing? I'm producing classes. When to produce? I have to produce my third day of session today. So this is the date that I have to produce it. For whom to produce? I'm producing it for you. Why should I produce? Because people are demanding this product, and that is why I'm giving it. So these 4 questions should be answered by every individual who wants to work, who wants to produce something, and every business which is actually trying to establish a production factory. They have to answer this question first, whether I should see. Actually, when I tell you that what to produce, I'm actually producing the classes. So I've told you this is the, you might find it okay, easy, I'm producing class, so this is the answer. But that's not the thing. Actually, I do a business. Hypothetically, I'm talking about, I'm doing a business, and that business is running a hotel. Hotel in the sense, it's not restaurant. Okay, restaurant is different, hotel is different. Hotel is a place where people go and lodge, they stay. That is a hotel. Restaurant is a place where you offer food. Okay, sometimes people confuse with this. So hypothetically taking, technically taking an example, imagine there is an individual who manages a hotel. Okay, and who is who has a degree in performing some artist work, artistry, painting, or some embroidery, or something related to artwork. And I can also cook, and I can also take class. So I have some 4 to 5 multitasking ability with me. Multitasking, no, not multitasking, I know multiple task. Okay, so now I have to decide whether I'm going to channel my entire energy to the classes, or I'm going to channel my energy into running a hotel, or this or that. So which means there are some 5 to 6 options for me. Out of the 6 options, I have chosen to be a teacher, and that is why I'm sitting in front of you. Okay, which means my energy is being channeled into becoming a teacher and not to be a general manager of a hotel company. Why? Because I'm not that interested in that option. Only in this teaching option I'm so interested. So I have chosen to be a teacher. That is where the answer to the question what to produce comes, because I had 5 options and I have chosen one option. Now, when to produce? See, I can produce yesterday, I can produce today, I can produce tomorrow, but I have chosen this session has to be produced today itself, because people are waiting for the exam. So that is where the decision for when to produce comes. And then you have for whom to produce. To whom are you producing? I'm producing for the student community. I'm preparing, I'm just preparing the recording class only for the student community who will not be able to come to the metro cities or urban cities to attend classes. For them, the classes has to be recorded and they can see it at their own convenient timing, and that is why we do it. So for whom do we produce? For the targeted students from south, or targeted students are the students who are not how do you call, who are not gifted enough, or I would say who are not in a position to come to metro cities to study. But that should not deter them from taking the best available classes, and that is where recorded classes comes into our hand, right? So see, for example, would you like to go to Delhi for high studies? Of course, everybody would prefer to, because that's the national capital, not just only for the nation's capital. It is the education's team area. So if you want to prepare for UPSC exams, Delhi is the best place for us. So now, if you want to get the best coaching, option number 1 would be to go to Delhi, or option number 2 would be to buy the recorded classes of a very, very, very proliferate professor who's taking classes in Delhi, and we can buy his videos and see. So that kind of difference. So we have decided to for whom to produce and why to produce. Of course, why to produce this product at this point of time. So we have 4 central economic problems. The entire economy has to answer to this. For example, China is producing 4 times, I'll put it like this. China spends 4 times more in military than any other average country, which means they have decided they want to produce more military goods. That is what to produce. When to produce? They want to produce right now because the entire world countries are in refractive tough today. So it's very, it's becoming a predicament to them. It's becoming a how do you call? It's becoming a given thing that we want proper military power, okay, to just exacerbate the situation. So they have decided, yes, we will spend so much on military. And then they're asking why to produce, because for their safety they're producing more of military goods for the safety of their own country, and they also want to teach lessons to all the Western countries who have taught bad history to Chinese. So every person, every country should answer these 4 questions. What to be produced? More of military products or more of universities to be built? Okay. Whether you're going to produce more of cocoa powder or cocoa beans or whatever you call any agricultural product, or you're going to concentrate more on software developing. So the country has to answer what has to be produced, and every sector has to be given some percentage of importance. That is very important. Okay. And then we're talking about the fundamental fact. Of course, these two are the fundamental facts. One is human wants are unlimited, infinite. There is no stopping point. Even if I get hundreds of thousands of products that I have asked you and you have given everything to me, even then I will have a long list of goods and services that I would love to try, which means human wants are really unlimited. But when it comes to the resources, it's actually limited, right? Which means we're not talking about it is very limited, we have scarcity. We're not talking about the actual scarcity. We're talking about the relative scarcity. What do you mean by relative scarcity and the actual scarcity? For example, we are talking about scarcity in relation to the wants that I have. If I want 10 liters of water and there is only 5 liters, then that is called as a relatively scarce. Okay, when I want actually 1 liter of water and there are 5 liters of water in reality available, then that is not called as a relative scarcity. Do you understand? In comparison to the wants of the entire universe or entire human breed, or the animals need water, I need water, and Bengaluru residents need water, everybody need water. Today, a Bangalore resident who has bought his flat for 2 crore rupees, okay, like Shapurji, Palonji apartments and all will be there, no? For 2 crore, 3 crore luxury apartments they bought, but they don't have water. So here comes the essence of scarcity. Water is available, yes, it is available. Is it available in Korea? Yes, it is available in Korea. It's available in Tamil Nadu. It is available in Africa, but it is not available in Bangalore where people want. Which means relative scarcity is also there. When you want a product in a particular place and that location doesn't have water, then it becomes a scarcity problem. So scarcity is simply put this: all the wants of the entire human sphere, entire human beings and the entire animals and everybody in this earth, on this earth, the entire wants of all the living beings put together, if you compare that with the total resources available on earth, it is obviously scarce only, because we need more and more and more and more, and comparatively to our wants and needs and desires and our dreams, obviously the resources are scarce. Okay, and that is why they've told you what human beings have unlimited wants, and the means to satisfy these unlimited wants are relatively scarce. This is very important. They're not talking that resources are scarce. They're not talking resources are scarce. Resources are available in plenty. Okay, if the total human population on earth is only 1 lakh population, then definitely resources would be adequately enough to their want. But today the population is increasing, the resources remaining the same. As a result, we get that relative scarcity. I think I have segregated and I have tried to dissolve the entire knowledge of the first page. We finished first page. So first we'll revise this, okay? So chapter overview, we're talking about business economics and economics. And the business economics scope, we have micro and macro. I've told you micro, meaning thereby about a company, and macro about a country or about some bigger units, like some international companies or international countries. And then when you talk about the BRIC nations, BRIC, BRIC, that we talk about that multilateral contract you have between 4 or 5 countries. When we talk about these things, we're talking about the macroeconomics and the nature. What is the nature of business economics? We're talking what is a science, what is an art. I've told you what is a science. Science means cause and effect relationship. If this happens, this will happen. If this is happening right now, when price of the gold is increasing, what will happen? How will people react? If price of aluminum is increasing, how people will react? When you form a theory, that is called as science. Whether people actually react in the same way, like how the theory is telling you, if the people of a country is also behaving the same way, then fine. If not, then what is the reason behind it? What is the art of implementing a project? Okay, art of implementing a project with your economics knowledge. So these are all art. I've told you what is pragmatic. Pragmatic is a wider connotation, wider what do you call, a wider perspective. You're not thinking just about your company, a very small abdillam. You're thinking of the entire nation. You're thinking about the entire supply chain, global value chain or global supply chain. Okay, how your neighboring countries are going to behave. Whether they are really a cordial friend to you or they are not, they are just hitting behind your back. These are all the important things that you have to bear in your mind before taking a business decision. That is called as pragmatic. And we have normative and positive that we have deliberated so intensively, right? Adukapra we have basic economic problems. What are the 3 questions? I've told you 4 questions. What to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and why to produce. These are all the basic economic problems, or that is also called as central economic problems. Okay, wow. And then we're talking about business economics. Set of input into output. I've told you what is input and what is output. Input, we have 4 inputs: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. Land, labor, capital, entrepreneur inputs. All these inputs put in the mixie, you put and you will get output. So this output can be good or service. So here they have only talked about goods, and that is the lamest way of explaining things. When they're talking about production, they should talk about using input goods and input services, do some process. Either your output is going to be in the form of service or good, right? They have this age-old practice of saying set of inputs and set of output. The inputs and output, they always refer to as consumer goods, producer goods, public goods, merit goods. None of the place they are mentioning services at all. Okay, we will think that goods is inclusive of services also. So we will write star potato, we will write in the goods includes services also. Here alone I'm telling, generally goods na goods, services na services, but here I'm telling you goods also include services. Okay, next we're talking about what to produce. Economia, which is household management, 1776. Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. So the entire book or full name, it's an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. Okay, fundamental facts, one of the human limits, human wants are unlimited and resources comparatively limited. Okay, wow. They're saying that two things have to be handled. One, wants are unlimited and resources are very scarce. And they are also talking about the microeconomics, where the basic microeconomics deals with how are we going to allocate the scarce resources. So-called scarce resources. So how are you going to allocate what to produce? The resources that we have. Okay, we have multiple resources, right? And China has decided to spend most of its resources for military. Most of its resources for military and for semiconductor industry. So China has decided that, and Vietnam has decided to convert most of its energy into what? I'll tell you this. Indonesia. If you take the example of Indonesia, in Indonesia, we have 4 Apple academies. Apple academies in the sense, the Apple iPhone maker, no? He has a training institute. He has 4 training institutes in Indonesia. Now, Indonesia has decided what to produce. They are trying to produce a skilled workforce there. And that is the way they have decided to produce something in terms of what? Skilled workforce. When it comes to Indonesia, they have decided to produce skilled workforce. So it's not about your resources alone. Sometimes your resources has to be used in a particular department sector, no? That sector has to be chosen. So Indonesia has chosen its sector to be upskilling its people, upskilling the human resources in such a fashion that today or tomorrow or in the future, if Apple wants to bring its factories into Indonesia, obviously Indonesians should be skilled enough to work in that factory. So they are laying the foundation stones today, and that is where Indonesia is concentrating. China is concentrating on how to produce the semiconductor chips by themselves because they have skilled workforce. They have money also, but they don't have technology. They are now trying to build the technology. So China is concentrating on technology building. Indonesia is concentrating on skilled workforce. India is trying to manufacture or assemble, to be very precise, India is concentrating on assembling the iPhones in India. So these are the ways in which we are trying to promulgate, this is what I want to do. What to do? This is what I want to do. But sometimes we forget that in certain period of time, the resources might fall. How can resource fall? How can a resource be, deleted? How can a resource be disturbed or destroyed? Don't you think coal, iron, these are all the resources. How can it be destroyed? Don't think like that. Resources doesn't mean only the land. In the sense, it doesn't mean only the natural resources that you find. Of course, for example, if you take the rainfall, if the monsoon is pretty good, then the harvest is good. If the monsoon is too heavy, the harvest is going to be in trouble. I'll give you an example. In Africa, the country Ghana, Ghana is the major producer of cocoa. Today you eat chocolates, all the chocolates are made from cocoa. That cocoa is being produced only in Ghana. I'll show you. Cocoa, Ghana, pollen output. Well, if you go to images, I'll tell you the news, okay? You don't have to read the news and all. I'll tell you the news. This is actually the images. This is the cocoa. The chocolates that we eat, right? It is a combination of cocoa butter, cocoa seeds, and the sugar. So these are the cocoa seeds. Cocoa fruit. Actually, this is a cocoa fruit. From this cocoa fruit, the outer layers will be peeled, and from inside, you'll take a pulp and along with some seed, you will make it ferment. After the fermentation process is done, pulp will be removed and seeds will be taken, and that is called as cocoa pulp. And from cocoa pulp, we produce two things. One is cocoa butter and the cocoa alone. So butter is a liquid, liquid type of a thing. You've seen, no, shea butter, that butter, cocoa butter, that only. And then we have cocoa seeds, which is a dried format. And this cocoa seeds are being bought from Africa, and it is being exported to many parts of the world, and chocolates are being produced. I was telling you, right? So this is the cocoa fruit, insides of a cocoa fruit. See, inside of a cocoa fruit, how does it seem to be? See, actually, now I've told you, fixed resources and how do you allocate. This is how microeconomics actually plays. But in reality, resources are never fixed. Sometimes there is a heavy rainfall, so resources are high. Sometimes because of heavy rainfall, all the crops of cocoa are destroyed. Resources go down. Sometimes COVID are stuck, and as a result, none of us are going to work and nothing is being produced. As a result, we don't have any proper salaries, and as a result, we don't demand anything. Since there is no demand for any of the products, again, supply is, being affected. So as a result, when COVID attacked, that is when COVID was announced in the world, obviously entire nation, not the entire nation alone, entire world, entire set of countries has become, it came to a halt. So that kind of happenings in the reality will definitely increase or decrease the resources. For example, more of monsoon will destroy the cocoa crop. When cocoa crop is destroyed, in the world's total production capacity, 10% of the cocoa plant are destroyed. As a result, if every year we are producing some 5,000 million tons of cocoa, and this year we will be able to produce only 4,700 or 4,400 million tons of cocoa, then obviously the prices of cocoa are going to be terribly damaged, right? So this will happen in any of the goods. depending upon the availability and the resources. So you have to be very clear about it. Okay, I've given you 2 examples, and when it comes to the example of when it comes to the example of global financial crisis, I'll teach you later. Just remember this alone: Corona pandemic 2019, resources gone down because we were not able to do work. Resources gone down would mean human are available, but we are not able to work. We were not able to go out of the house, and half of the like tens of millions of people were they were dead during COVID, which means human resources have gone down. So resources might go up, might go down, depending upon the situation. So you have to be aware of the external situation to come up with the proper business ideas or business strategies and all that. So this is what you have to remember. Okay, and then we're talking about concentration, how to increase the productive resources. Of course, productive resources we are increasing every year. Okay, for 100 years before, we did not have this kind of networked aircraft, or we did not have these kind of efficient, air budgets and all. Today we have, and the electric cars we have today, we did not have like 20 or 30 years before, which means resources are evolving every day. New resources are being found out every day, and resources keep on increasing in scale, in number, in different types. For example, shale gas, and then the natural gas, or any other resources that we are finding, evolving, discovering. So obviously the availability of resources keeps on increasing. So it's not like available resources are very scarce, wants are heavy, we have to make sure that the limited resources are being properly employed. No, this limited resources is not going to be limited forever. Obviously, year on year, decade after decade, century after century, these resources are going to be, it has to grow bigger in terms of technology, in terms of quality, in terms of quantity, in terms of everything. It's going to grow. But even though it grows so much momentum, still the wants are going to be infinitely high, because that's a speciality of human mind. We want a lot, and that lot can never be equated by the availability or the increase in terms of resources. So here they're talking about economics, therefore concerns itself not just with the crucial concern of how a nation allocates its scarce resources, but also how it deals to increase the resources. Okay, they're talking only about this. You should not assume that that's what they're trying to tell here. You should not assume that all the resources are scarce. Resources are limited. You should not come to a conclusion like that. Every year you have to work upon your resources to increase it, to increase the dimension, to increase the capacity, efficiency, blah blah blah, everything you have to increase. Yeah, smartphones, monitors or computers, the terms of all these things were unavailable a century ago. Today we have all these products only because of the capacity of human beings. Okay, then we're talking about nature and scope. Of course, economics, we have central economic problems. Ends means want. What do you want? Here, means would mean the source or resource. Okay, ends mean wants, means resources. These are the two important 1 mark. In exam, they might ask you, ends means what? Wants. Means na resources. Adukapprama we have, of course, ends are unlimited in number. So you have like 1,000 different types of want. You have to prioritize, and you have to see what is your first priority, and then you have to use your resources in order to fulfill that priority. For example, you have only 1,000 rupees and your exam is coming near. Okay, you are just nearing the exam date. Now you want to buy a dress, you want to write exam. To which one will you apply your 1,000 rupees? Of course, for exam. Rationally talking, okay, logically speaking, you will apply for exam. So likewise, even if you have hundreds of want and you have only 1,000 rupees in your hands, then obviously you will have to spend the 1,000 rupees only for one of your want, and that one would be education, assuming that you will prefer education over an entertainment. That's all. Then means would mean obviously it is limited, and for example, 1,000 rupees is there, that is your limited means. 1,000 rupees can be used to different alternative uses. You can use it for book buying, you can use for a cinema ticket, You can use it to buy a dress. Okay, you can use it to apply for your exams. You can use it for any purpose, which means the limited means has alternative uses. You have to choose which purpose you're going to use this 1,000 rupees. In the same way, not just individuals, the entire country has to decide, okay, India has so much of money this year to spend. I'm going to spend on railways. This is the budget. Every February, no, they're giving you some budget. No, what is budget? This is what budget represents this. Every February month, they are presenting you some budget, right? February month, India, February month. And in all other parts of different countries, different dates will be given. And on that particular day, the national budget is being presented. What do? They say this year we are going to allocate nearly 15,000 crore rupees for metro buildings, and then some 3,000 crore for subsidies for education, or some 7,000 crore rupees for railways, something like that. So this is what the total available budget money is being allocated to different purposes. These are the alternative uses. You can use it for railways. Yes, for railways you have a budget. For education you are spending. For military you are spending, which means you have money. You can either spend the entire money to military also. You can spend the entire money to education also, or you can spend the entire money to food sector also, agriculture also. You choose how much proportion of your entire budget has to be spent on railways, how much of your entire money or how much percentage of your entire money has to be spent on military. You decide. That is the country's board of ministers, no, they decide. These are the examples. Few examples of issues. See, decision making, few decision making that you will do in your business. What is the decision? Number one, should I do business or not? Should our firm be in business, or should I lock it up and just go shut down and go? அப்படியா? அதுக்கப்புறம், should the firm launch a product? Should I launch a product today or not? So these are the questions they're asking. And if the firm decided on launching the product, okay, I'm going to launch the product, and which technique am I going to use to launch it? Am I going to launch only on online? For example, Xiaomi phones, when they were introduced, they were only available in the online market. That is only using the website you can order it. And later on, they were introduced in the normal physical markets also. So you have to decide the techniques and the tactics behind the launching of a product. அது சொல்றாங்களா? And then you have, from where should the firm produce the necessary input? For example, you have decided, okay, I'm going to manufacture semiconductor chip. That is all okay. You have decided. Where from you will get the input? So where from you will get the input? The input for semiconductor chip is available only in Japan. You cannot even decide that. Certain decisions you can make. Certain decision you can only agree to, because the entire world is dependent on Japan for the purest, completely 99.9999% refined minerals and the raw mined, that is what the minerals needed for the production of semiconductor chips, which can be used in your smartphone, electric car, everything. Okay, so now for this question, from where should the firm procure the necessary input? Of course, from Japan. This is a very, very, very choice illada or option. From Japan only you have to buy அப்படிங்கிறது. But generally talk about iPhones. Where do you want to assemble? Apple can decide, no, I want to assemble in Chennai, or I want to assemble in China, or I want to assemble in Indonesia or Vietnam or Philippines. Who can take the decision? Apple can take the decision. It's not just about the how do you call it? It's not just about the rights, or it's not just about your privilege of taking a decision. Actually, it's a responsibility. If you don't take a properly chalked out decision, then it's going to affect your entire supply chain. So obviously these are all the questions that you have to answer when you're doing a business. And then what are the other things? Should the firm make the components or buy them from other firms? Of course, when Apple is actually producing the phone, they have to make sure whether all the 123 components needed for phone making, should they produce all the 123 components, or will they buy it from countries like South Korea, Taiwan, or countries like Madagascar, whether I will get the components from these countries and then I will assemble it in China. So these kind of decisions will also be taken by the company. And then how much should be produced? How much goods should be produced? For example, BMW or any of the high-end cars will not be produced 5,000, 6,000 or 5 lakh, 6 lakh car la produce பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. They'll produce only a limited car. You always see the limited edition. No, limited edition will always have only lesser number of goods produced. Output will be less, but then the price will be fixed high. As a result, it will be called as a luxury edition, limited edition. The cars which are very high end car, they won't produce heavy in terms of quantity. For example, I've told you, no, one example, what is it? Adidas came up with the jersey culture. Three types of jerseys were introduced: 499, 999, and 2999. The match jersey. Those are like that, no. 499 jerseys, even though they're ready to produce, not much demand is going to be there for blue jersey, which is 5,000 rupees. So obviously, they will produce less of 499 and more of 999 jerseys, depending upon the demand. So how much should be the optimum output and what price should you sell? Price fixing apdida. And then how will, see, for example, Baskin Robbins is a ice cream brand. If you go and take a 100 ml cup, it is 300 rupees, 320 rupees, 350 rupees Baskin Robbins. Same Arun ice cream, you take only 30 rupees. So it depends. What's your company? What's the input? What's the quality you give? What is the price of the product that you want to determine? Who's your target audience? Everything is the question that you need to answer before you operationalize it. Okay, how will the product be placed in the market? The product positioning or placing is very important, because when it came to the jersey culture, no, wait a second, when they were talking about the jersey culture, actually they launched three types. I've told you, Adidas launched three types of jersey. One is match jersey, number two replica jersey. Replica jersey means it will look just like the original 499 jersey, but it will have some quality difference. And 999 jersey, they did not call it as a cheap jersey, they called it as fan jersey. So we have three things, no. Number one, I've told you, we have three types, 1, 2 and 3. Number third type is fan. Number 1 is match jersey and number 2 is replica. So how do you position it? How do you, now these are the different types of products you wanted to produce, but how are you going to place these products in the market? Now they decided, we are going to place it in the market in this fashion. What is the fashion in which you're going to place it? First of all, they sold it through their own website, adidas.com. Just wait a second. I'm going all dry because of the climate also. Oh, excuse me. What were we talking? Jersey culture. So when it comes to jersey culture, they wanted to sell, right? So first they launched the product in adidas.com, and then they launched in Ajio, Myntra and all those things. And then they had their own showroom, Adidas showroom, they launched there. And then they launched in Reliance showroom, a live stop, showstopper, some stoppers, in all those showrooms. And then they came to Blinkit, Swiggy, Instamart, Amazon, other madri, they have launched in all the quick commerce. Anga they launched the blue jerseys. And then they went overboard. They went beyond a certain expectation, and they were also, placing their products in the kiosk, small kiosk, and then in the airport, and then also in the lobbies, in the cinema theaters where no crowds are there. And there are so many other places where these products are being placed for the cricket fans to see the products. Only if they see, they'll buy the product, no. So the product should be placed in such a fashion that it has to reach the customer. See, I'll tell you the all the means. I've written it, okay. One or two I might have missed. I'll tell you that. Own website, Adidas own website, own stores, franchisee stores, and then digital partners like Myntra, Ajio and all, and then quick commerce like Blinkit, Big Basket, Swiggy, Zepto, and then the hotel lobbies, and then standalone malls and mobile vans and kiosk at airport. All these are the ways through which Adidas wanted to place the products in different, like how do you call, different places where they can catch the targeted audience. And what is their advertisement? How did they place the product? Advertisement. How did they place it? Advertising it. See, This is their advertisement. Own your stripes. Adidas logo is like 3 stripes. So since they are sponsoring the blue jerseys for Indian team, so their tagline is this: own your stripes. So these are the ways in which you have to understand the paper. Okay, where in a question? Which customer segment should be focused? That's a customer segment fan ka customer segment on the replica va illa match. You have to decide. And then how much should be the marketing budget? How much should you spend for marketing? For example, Zudio did not do any marketing at all, but Westside did the marketing. Westside one, it's a high-end brand. One shirt will be 6,000, so they had the marketing budget. Zudio felt like no need for marketing because the product is available at 699 and the product has so much quality for that price. People will talk to other people through the grapevine communication, is what they call informal gossiping or talking to each other, the oral advertisements from people to people. That will be a very great channel. So that's how Zudio did not spend much on marketing, not much on marketing. And then how to combat the risk and uncertainties involved. Obviously there is going to be a risk from agriculture to the aircraft. In every place there is a risk involved and uncertainties involved. So you really have to chalk out a plan about how are you going to face them. Then we have this business economics, means integrating the obviously business economics is a place where economic knowledge is being applied in the real situation. So that is why they always called it as applied economics. And then it is also called as integration of economic theory with business practice. So the theory is put into practice. That is called as applied economics or business economics. Understood? Business economics is also called as applied economics, or this is also called as managerial economics. Today I'm a little exhausted. I understand that actually, because my output is not that productive. I'm sorry, if there is some stammering that's happening on my side, it's only because of my exhaustion. I've taken some 2 to 3 hours of class for some other paper in intermediate, so I was not able to concentrate full on. Okay. Now you have this 1 mark, very, very important 1 mark. What is this? Joel Dean 1 mark. Who gave the definition for economics, business economics? Joel Dean. What he said, it is business economics is an economics which helps you to do the analysis and the formulation of business policies. That's all. You use the economic knowledge and do it the business and apply your entire economic knowledge in the performance or operationalizing the business. That is called as business economics. This is Joel Dean. Subject matter of economics can be divided into 2. I've told you. It is microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay. Micro means about individuals. Firms means small companies. Group of firms is called as industry. For example, Reliance is a firm, one company. Telecom industry is the industry, entire industry. So individuals, firms, these are all the examples of micro. Macro would mean obviously national level output or national level unemployment or national level budget, anything that goes national and international. We are talking about WTO, or we're talking about the World Bank. Okay, we're talking about the UNESCO. When we do this, we talk about the macroeconomics. Okay, so microeconomics, they're giving you the examples. Microeconomics is basically the study of behavior of different individuals and organizations within an economic system. Obviously, what is microeconomics? Microeconomics tells that there is limited resources. How do you allocate the resources to make decisions on what to be produced? Like, you have resources, how are you going to use the resources? This decision making comes under microeconomics. Okay, and what is the other one? Small number or group of units. I've told you micro means small only. Micro is taken from the Greek word micros. Micros means small. So small group of people, small group of units. When you talk about these people, it is called as microeconomics. Obviously, you're talking about a product, fan jersey, blue jersey, fan jersey, match jersey. How do you price it? Product pricing, you're talking about macroeconomics. Consumer behavior, how will they buy? Will they buy for 4999 or not? That is called as consumer behavior. How do they behave? And then factor pricing. What is the factor pricing? I've told you what is factor pricing. Factor means factors of production. For production, you need 4 factors: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. How are you going to price it? For capital, 1 crore you have borrowed. How much you're going to pay the price for it? 8% is the interest you're going to pay for the borrowed capital. So that for 1 crore, you're going to pay how much? 8 lakh rupees as interest. This 8 lakhs is the price of the factor. What is the factor here? Capital is one of the factors of production. So factors of production are 4 number, land, labor. See, this again comes under the production chapter. So if you listen properly here itself, when we finish the first chapter, we are covering here and there some chunks of third, fourth, fifth chapters and all. Okay. So we have land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And when it comes to capital, it is also one of the factors of capital. So what is factor pricing? The price that you fix for the 4 factors of production is called as factor pricing. For land, what do you pay? Rent. Rent is the price for the factor, and the factor is called land. So what is rent? It is the factor price. Rent is the factor price for land. And then you have labor. For labor, what do you pay? You pay wages. So wages are the factor price for labor. And then for capital, interest you pay. Interest is the factor price for capital. And profit is for the entrepreneur who takes the risk. Okay. Now we are talking about economic conditions of a section of people. Of course, in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, we've attained a huge literacy ratio. Here, every family has only 2 children. That kind of implementation happened way before 2000s and 1990s. But in Orissa or in Bengal or in Bihar, even till date, that 1 family, 2 children has not been implemented. Which means there are certain sections of people, certain sections of the country, they have a very economic backwardness. And there are countries like Tamil Nadu, there are states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, who are, these states are in forefront in everything, in human development index, in education, in the literacy ratio, I would say, and the infrastructure. Tamil Nadu is in the forefront, is in the top 5 in medical sector, in education, in productivity, everything. In the top 5, Tamil Nadu will be there. So economic conditions of a certain section of people, when you read about certain section of people's economic condition, it comes under microeconomics. Behavior of firms. Behavior of firms, I'll tell you an example. Namma Yatri is an app that has come newly to the market. So already existing competitors are whom? Incumbent we call. These people are called as incumbent because they are there from the beginning. Incumbents are Ola and Uber. How Ola and Uber work? Ola and Uber work in this fashion. If 100 rupees is collected from the passenger, 30 will go to Ola and 70 will go to the driver. This is called as commission basis. What basis? What is the basis, ma? Ola and Uber run on commission basis. For every ride, 30% will be given to Ola and Uber, and balance 70% is being taken by a driver. This is commission basis. So the incumbents Ola and Uber are working through commission basis. But Namma Yatri is a new app. Namma Yatri is a new app. It works on subscription basis. What is a subscription basis? See, subscription basis is like this. Every driver who wants to be a partner with the Namma Yatri, they have to pay 100 rupees per day. They can pay just 100 rupees per day and they can take as much ride as possible. They can even do 10 rides per day or 20 rides per day or 30 rides per day. All they wanted to do is pay 100% per day subscription. So this is the business model of Namma Yatri. But when it comes to Ola and Uber, it is on commission basis. If you take 20 trips, for every trip, if the trip amount is on an average 500 would mean, you really have to pay, okay, 150 rupees to the Ola and Uber for every trip. So 150 into 10 trips means 1,500 you should pay to Ola. If you're taking 20 trips, you have to pay 3,000 to Ola and Uber. So that is commission basis and this is subscription basis. So when an app or when a company like Nammayatri is just jumping or it's just landing soft launch பண்றோம்ல. So when you're soft launching Nammayatri into the already existing market of ride hailing apps, now how do the firms behave when Nammayatri comes into the location or when Nammayatri comes into the market? How do Ola and Uber react? Ola and Uber are firms, right? How do firms behave when a newcomer is just setting a different tone name of subscription basis and not commission basis? And what will happen? All the drivers who were hitherto attached with Ola and Uber will now jump to Nammayatri, because Nammayatri has only 100 rupees subscription basis. Now every driver will go to Nammayatri only. As a result, what will happen? More number of drivers will be attached now only to Nammayatri and not to Ola and Uber. So these are all how you study about industry, like ride hailing industry, Ola, Uber, and then you have Rapido, you have the Red Taxi, Nammayatri, you have many other things, okay. So location of the industry. What is the location of the industry? Majority of the heavy metal industry will be near port or will be near the beaches, coastal area, because anyway you're going to export the products, metals and all that. So if you have the production factory in the middle of the country, then taking it to the coastal area is going to be a big problem because metals are heavy and big. So as a result, the location of the industry, metal industry, should be nearby the coastal area. I'm just giving an example. Likewise, each and every industry will choose its location, which is optimal, which is preferable, which is cost efficient. We're talking under microeconomics. And then we're talking about macroeconomics, national output, national income, national employment, unemployment, poverty, exporter, importer, budget, tax, tariff, lot, losuk, everything will come under macroeconomics. Export and import. See, you have export and import. I will change the color. This color. Export and import we have here. Foreign land, how much investment we got, national income, output, general price level, balance of trade, balance of payment, external value of currency, that is $1 is equal to how many rupees on the Mari. And then we have overall level of savings, how much Indians are saving, how much Chinese are saving. On the Mari, we are comparing between countries, or we are talking only about the Indian savings phenomenon. Everything comes under the macroeconomics. The level of employment, a rate of economic growth, large economy aggregates, overall level of output and employment. Output and employment we've already seen somewhere. Output and employment, okay. Total consumption, total savings, total. These words you remember. Total will come under macro. Output, economic growth, general price level, export, import, budget, deficit, all these comes under macroeconomics. And then we're talking about the characteristic features of business economics. See, for example, whenever a hero is introduced in a film, they'll say he's short-tempered, okay, he's tall, or he is physically super strong, or he has the secret secret power, superpower, strange power, something like that. In the same way, you have the hero called as, the hero's name is what? Business economics. And we're talking about business economics. How do you think the business economics will react? Or we're talking about the nature, scope, and characteristic features of business economics. Number one, they say it is science, okay? Number one, they say business economics is a science. Of course, we are talking about business economics here. And I have clearly told you business economics depends upon 90% depends upon microeconomics. And only 10% it depends upon macroeconomics, because we are talking about a company here, right? For example, the boat company, it is the headset, speaker, and all the wearable smartphones and all they produce. So that company, from that company, 7.5 lakh customers, 7.5 million customer data has been leaked in the dark web. So in the dark web, some hacker has hacked the data, that is name, phone number, and some personal information of 75 lakh customers of boat. That companies, what is it called as? Headset, earphones, headphones making company. அவங்களோடதுல they've lost. So how much they've lost? 75 lakh customers data, and it is meagerly sold for some $100 in the dark web, it seems. So very soon it will be sold for free in the dark web. So what will happen? 75 lakh customers data are available on dark web but free of cost. Anybody will take the data. It is available to anyone who knows how to access the dark web. That's all. They'll take the data, and lots of fraud calls, phone scams, a scam will happen. So now tell me, when we're studying about microeconomics, when we're studying about a particular company called as vote, we have to be bothered about the data secrecy, or how confidential you keep the data of the 75 lakh customers data. You should keep properly, no. So we're studying about vote, we're studying about the company, we're studying about the confidentiality of the data of the customer, because they in belief that you will use the data properly, they've given you their original names, okay, their phone numbers, their date of birth sometimes, okay, the date of birth, and certain other personal information like address, and then some of the data they collect from us, the birthdays of your children, and what do you like the most, which festival do you celebrate. These are all the details that they ask with any company for that matter. So as a result, what happens? Multiple details about me is available in the dark web for free. So what if a person takes my number and he's trying to do some phone scam or some fraud call? What will happen? So now, when we are studying about business economics, we are studying about the company called Boat. We're studying about the confidentiality of the 75 lakh customers. So we here are studying about the customers. We here are studying about, we here studying about a company. And you have to remember, definitely, business economics works like a science. Okay, I'm going to fix the fan jerseys at 999, which means more people will buy. Everybody will buy at 999. If I keep only one form of jersey, only 5,000 rupees jersey is available, nobody's going to buy. Only some 7,000, totally you can only sell some 10,000 to 20,000 jerseys in India. If you keep the price at 10,000, 12,000 and all that. If you keep the price at 1,000 rupees, you can sell 10 lakh or 20 lakh units of jerseys. Now you have to decide the cause and effect relationship. Price low, demand more. Price high, demand less. This is called as cause and effect relationship. This is what it says. Economics is a science. Follow scientific methods. Empirically tested the validity of the result. They've done some research and development. They've done some sample, and they've come out with the law called as law of consumer equilibrium, and that law is being applied by you in your business, and that is why it is called as business economics is a science, of course. And I've told you, I've told you, right? I've told you enough number of times, it is based on microeconomics, because here we're talking about customers, suppliers, company, and everything that is revolving around the company. It is largely focused on microeconomics. Can you operate in a vacuum space? No, right? You have to operate inside India or inside USA, something like that. So it is also incorporating the elements of macroeconomics. It is also an art. Why is it an art? I've told you, Anil Ambani, Mukesh Ambani example, no? Both of them are taught, both of them took lessons from very famous or forefront universities, but one succeeded, one failed. Why do you think so? Because it is the art of applying the economics in business. It's the art of decision making. How vibrant you are to take a decision, how informed you are when you take a decision. So when we talk about Elon Musk, or when we talk about OpenAI, or we talk about ChatGPT, we talk about successful companies, we're talking about the art of doing business. We talk about Sundar Pichai, we talk about Tim Cook, we talk about many Bill Gates, we talk about many people who are successful today because of their art and style of leadership. So of course it is an art, practical application of rules that you've learned. ஏன் இந்த சோதனையப்பா? application of rules. Then they're talking about markets and private enterprises. Of course, you have to know about the market, whether it is a free market or whether you have to pay something to government in order to start a telecom company. Should you get a license from the government to launch the SATCOM companies? SATCOM company is a satellite company. For example, recently there is a company called as a Starlink. You know, right? It is Elon Musk's company. It gives network by using the satellite. So this Starlink company recently got license from Government of India. Government of India was put this license on a back burner for literally 3.5 years. License was not given to this company. Only now they are giving the license. See, as of now, even the license is not given to them. It is in the table of the respective minister, and he or she will give. But then what Government of India was asking for the last 3 years is that to claim that Starlink is owned by none of the Indian neighbors. For example, if Starlink is a satellite company giving network facilities and all that, and this facility along with Elon Musk, Pakistan is also holding ownership, or if China is also having ownership to this, Starlink would mean it is going to bring some national security issues, right? So Government of India wanted a clarity from the side of Elon Musk, a declaration stating that Starlink is not owned by any of the neighbors of India. That is, any neighbors who share the land with India, land area with India. And Elon Musk has declared, submitting a document that, yeah, your country's neighbors and the land sharing neighbors are not in any way connected with Starlink's ownership. So you can please give the license. That's what they said. So these are the things that I'm trying to tell you. Even though microeconomics is very, very, very important for your business economics or to run a business, you also need to know how Indian government is functioning or what Indian government wants to know how to get a license for your company, because you come from America, you're going to do business in India, which means it's not just enough to know law of demand, law of supply. For Elon Musk, he also is supposed to know the how do you call the sentiments of Indian government. So that's how the market and the private enterprises should know about the country's sentiments also. And I've told you, pragmatic in approach. Okay, microeconomics is pure abstract. It talks about a particular thing. It is purely theoretical. When it comes to business economics, it is completely application oriented. So it has to be very pragmatic, and that is what they're talking about. Microeconomics is theoretical and it has a lot of assumptions, but in reality, business is said to happen in the real world, real problem, tackling the problem. So it is all about the application of business economics in real world, blah 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 blah. Pragmatic in approach. That's all. Interdisciplinary, of course, you cannot study economics without the help of mathematics, without the help of statistics, without the help of analytics, without the help of data, without the help of any other sciences. So the research papers or the mathematics, everything is intertwined into this business economics, without the help of which you can't study. And then you're talking about many other things like management theory, accounting. With all these subjects help only you can study business economics. And then I have deliberated, Perusa, I have told you what is normative and positive science. You can read this paragraph, and if you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay, what ought to be? This what ought to be, no? Super, super, super. What ought to be? Ought to be. This is normative. What ought to be? I'm telling you the decision. What ought to be? What should be done? What should be done? What shall be done? What has to be done? What is to done? What ought to be done? Ellame normative. What is positive? What is happening? This is positive science. Okay. And then we have two categories. One is microeconomics is used in the business for internal issues, and macroeconomics is used to understand the external media, not media, external, exterior, which is outside for us. So they are talking about international. See, you have this internal issues that can be solved using microeconomics, external using macroeconomics. And then they're talking about micro deals with operational issues, or they're talking about internal dane. So here we have operational issues. What do you mean by operational issues, which is internal to you? இங்கே கொடுத்துருக்காங்க internal operational issues. What are the operations? I've told you already again and again. We are only அரைச்ச மாவு அரைச்சிப்பைங்க தான், but still we have to learn because from any part of this questions might come. So what are the issues? What is the size of the product you're going to launch? Okay, Pro 15 model, Pro 14 model, camera size, in the size, and the size. What is the product specification decisions? Technology, factor combination. What is a factor? Factor means factors of production. They are four in number: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And you have to decide whether you're going to use one machine, okay, that can weave the sari with 100 different patterns, which has some algorithm already embedded into it in terms of a software. So this one machine was launched in Bangladesh, Myanmar, and because of this launch of one machine, nearly 4,000 weavers, they lost their work, they lost their job. Now machine has replaced mankind, right, in this example. So this is just one weaving company that has installed one machine with 100 different patterns that can do complicated patterns, and as a result 4,500 employees are out of job. Now tell me, if the entire country is going to install this kind of machine, then the factor combination is going to be more of machine and less of man. But in terms of Ghana, when it comes to cocoa, since it is agriculture and not much of market penetration has been there for production of cocoa, more of labor and more of man is needed there and less of machine. So this is called as factor combination. Whether you're going with more of machine and less of mankind, or more of manpower and less of machine. So this is called as factor combination. This you will do in your business with the help of microeconomic theories. And pricing, I've told you, best example jersey only, 999, 499, 2999, that example only. Sales promotion, I've told you, no, sales promotion, even in the airport kiosk, jersey were available. Even in some hotel lobbies, jersey is available. Even in cinema theaters, the jerseys are available. So if you make proper decisions about the sales promotion, obviously sales will be quite high. And then finally you have to decide whether I'm going to get 1 crore that I need for my capital through the shareholders or debt holders. So financing, management and investments, inventory, everything comes under microeconomics. Everything helps you to take day-to-day management decisions for your business. Okay. So here we are going to discuss how this microeconomic theory is used with the internal issue. How many issues we have? Number 1. With the use of microeconomics, you can decide what is your future demand. For example, people are now using more of PhonePe, BharatPe, QR code in India, right? So obviously the UPI payments and the related infrastructure is going to be in huge demand. So those companies that are designing the QR codes or related to that industry definitely should be well aware of their, well aware of about their macroeconomic demand. So demand analysis is number 1. A company should be able to forecast their demand with the help of microeconomics. Number 2, production and cost. How much should I produce? Should I produce 5,000 units or 10,000 units or 50 lakh units? How much should I produce? That will also be helped by microeconomics using production theory and cost theory and all that. Okay. And then you have inventory management. See, inventory management is very important. For example, why in our home, Amma is not buying 30 kgs of tomato for the entire month put together. We can also buy, we can buy some, one big full bag of onions, 50 kgs, which can be used for 3 months. Why Mama is not buying that? Why our Amma is not buying that? Because we cannot properly store it at home. Instead, if you buy kg by kg, half kg or quarter kg or 1 kg, you need not store, right? Even in a simple household, in your kitchen, all the groceries and household items that you need for cooking will be there, which can last up to a month, not beyond that. Why you not buying the groceries for the entire year? Because you don't want to store it unwantedly. So every month you're buying. In the same way, if you are going to have the inventory, for example, raw materials you're having, no, if you have raw materials for producing the goods for the next 1 year, this raw material is enough. If you have that amount of raw material, obviously you have to go and see a storage space, okay, and then you have to properly store it. It should not there should not be any wastage, and there has to be one security appointed, and there has to be one camera installed, which means more and more of raw material would mean more and more of storage cost, holding cost. So those things are discussed in microeconomics. As a result, you will come to a decision whether you want to stack up the entire raw material needed for a year, or you're going to buy just needed for a month, and then you will keep ordering. Reordering level will be ordered every month end, so that you will get the procurement. You will study using the inventory management. And then you have market structure and pricing policies. Of course, how do you price the product? What's your market structure? These things are related to price theory. How do you fix the price? Whether it is perfect competition or imperfect competition. These things we'll read in the 3rd and 4th chapter. Here only the topics are important. If you have time, please go through the sub points also, but major points are the market structures and pricing policies. Of course, resource allocation is done using microeconomics. And then theory of capital and investment decision. Ignore this. This I have written for my own, my own assistance. Okay. So here they are also talking about how capital and investment decisions should be made. See, for example, I'll be having 5 crores with me. Should I hold it in the form of cash, or should I put it in the bank, or should I buy some debentures, or should I invest in some other company? What should I do with my surplus cash? Like that, you will have to decide what to do with your resources and how to allocate it. So resource allocation, capital and investment decisions are very important. And then profit analysis. Of course, profit analysis is very important. For example, recently what happened, there is a company called as, wait a second, I've forgotten that company. Oh my God. Okay, remember, the company has a brand called as 24/7. It is written like that. This 24/7. This is how it is written. Wait a second. I'll just 1 second. I'll see the name of the company. It was completely new to me. Oh my God, I have missed it somewhere. Okay, there is a company called 24/7, and it is owned by one giant company. Okay. So this 24/7 company is recording a profit of 9%. Okay, but the owner doesn't want this project. So they're trying to shut down. Why they're trying to shut down? They get 9% profit. Every time they incur 100 rupees as capital, they're getting 9 rupees profit. Then why are they shutting it down? Because they have yet another project or alternative projects available with them, which is going to give them more than 9% profit. And that is why they don't want to continue with the operations of this 24/7 kiosk. This is available in wait a second, I'll show you the pic. 24/7 காணுமா? Oh, 24/7 company going to be shut down. Actually, the owner. Wait a second. Here. Yes. It is Godfrey Phillips. The company's name is Godfrey Phillips. This Godfrey Phillips, no, he is exiting from 24/7. This is the shop's outlet look. Any other pictures available? No, right? Wait a second. Godfrey Phillips India. This is the company. And they have a lot of Godfrey, no? Wait a second. 24/7 franchise. images. This is the show stop outlook. Actually, this is being held by, what did I tell you? Godfrey Phillips. Godfrey Phillips. Actually, that company is producing lots of brand, in a brand, no, branded cigarettes, Marlboro. Oh my God, this is the one thing that I miss. Wait. Cavendor. I don't know. I saw the names, but I missed it. Cigarette brands. Cigarettes, beverages, daily needs, and more. Okay, let's not waste time. I'll see the name of the cigarettes that they are manufacturing. They're manufacturing nearly 5 different types of cigarettes in India, and Marlboro is an American like owned cigarette, and they have got, no, it's from Philips, I guess. So they've got that logo or license from Philips, and they are manufacturing Marlboro in India and they are selling it here, which means this company, which has come to know that 24/7 as an outlet, it is actually giving them 9% of profit, okay, so far. So as of now, the 9% profit range is achieved, but now they don't want to run the stores. They have around 300 stores, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. 300 stores are there across India. Across India, no, none of the southern states has this. So I have not seen this 24/7 until I came up with this article. And until I saw that article, I never know this kind of outlet exists, okay. And then only I read it is available in Delhi and a few other states. Only 3 states has been mentioned. Okay, only in these 3 states this 24/7 is available. So now they're trying to shut it down. Why do they shut it down? Because they don't want to run this business, because if they invest 100 rupees in 24/7, they are getting 9% profit, would mean if they invest the same 100 in Marlboro cigarette production, what if the market rate of interest, or what if the market profit availability is 20%? Obviously, they don't want to invest 100 rupees in 24/7, and they want to take the 24/7 out of their agenda or out of their portfolio, and they want to keep their capital only to cigarette manufacturing alone. That's the point. And that is why you have to study about capital theory and investment decision making and all that. And profit analysis in the same way, 9% profit is also there in 24/7, and maybe 17% profit is achieved in Marlboro or any other cigarette, would mean you have to do the profit analysis, and then risk and uncertainty analysis happens. And then we have macro. Macro is very simple. We have come to the end of this chapter. You know, one thing, actually, studying the study material அப்படியே point to point, or understanding it, and making it a successful note, it's a very difficult process, but it's worth it when you get marks. When you see the questions in exam paper, you will know the hard work, the amount of hard work we have put into chapter number 1, unit number 1 and all. So macro, this is the last table. Once we finish this table, we only have the summary. Once we finish the summary, the entire first unit is over, okay. So now they're talking about macro, which is relating to the exterior. So here, what is that you have to study? You are going to use the macroeconomic knowledge in order to understand the company's operations. How do you run? For example, I've told you, one of the countries, which is it? Indonesia or Vietnam? Vietnam, I think. Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, there you have dictatorship, communism. Without knowing about the country or its, that government structure, you will not be able to operate there. So it's always better for us to know the macroeconomic environment of a particular country or particular environment. Point number one, we're talking about type of economic system. Is it like America? Like what? Capitalism. Like everything is privately owned. Government doesn't have any holdings. Government doesn't interfere in your job. So it's all about complete privatization. So that is one type of economic system. Number two, it's like Russia or the Vietnam, where everything is communism. Okay, communism, socialism, like that. And then we come across India, where we have mix of capitalism, socialism, here and there some communism and all that. So that is called as mixed economy. And we're talking about business cycle. So business cycle is one interesting topic, okay? So that interesting topic should be taught to you with more vigor from my side, okay? Since I'm at the edge of finishing this chapter, let's not discuss business cycle now. I'll teach you the business cycle separately. I think we have it as a separate chapter. Even if it is not there, I'll teach you that, okay? Business cycle is one super topic that we have to sit with so much of vigor and intense to learn. So number 3, business cycle is like boom, depression, recession. But when it is being expressed or explained in terms of example of a television sector, then definitely it's going to be mouth-watering. Third one, the general trends in national income, employment. This you should know, right? In USA or South Korea, one day rental premises would cost around 1,800 rupees to 5,000 rupees. If you think that in terms of Indian rupees in India, then definitely the affordability is going to be different. So you have to know the general trends of pricing, national income or employment and all that. And then we have government economic policies. For example, when COVID hit, Canada, the government gave a lot of subsidies and grant to the people. So government order position should be known. What are the different policies that's happening? Whether they're open to globalization, whether they're open to sending the goods, exporting the goods, whether they're open to all the countries to import their goods. You should also see that. And when it comes to central bank, financial sector, capital market and all that. You know what is a central bank, right? Reserve Bank of India is a central bank, and in Reserve Bank of India, you and I cannot open account and all. Only SBI can have an account, Bank of India can have an account. So all the commercial banks can have an account with Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India is a banker for all the commercial banks and to the government. So none of the individuals can hold an account with Reserve Bank of India. So that is called a central bank. So central bank, as in it is a separate chapter, we'll study when it comes to fiscal policy and the monetary policy. We'll definitely study about the central bank. For now, we just understand central bank means Reserve Bank of India for India, and Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is the name of the central bank for America, and each and every country has its own central bank, okay? And you know what is the financial sector? Financial sector is where you have stock exchange, UK debt market and gold market and all the commodities market. And then we have capital market. For example, recently when the Zomato went for IPO, LIC went for IPO. So when initial public offer is being done, that is called as capital market. And their regulation. Socio-economic organization like trade unions, producer, consumer unions, cooperative society, social and political environment. These are all self-explanatory, okay? And then here we have difference between economics and business economics, definite up. Here we are trying to frame a policy, or here we are trying to frame a cause and effect relationship. And in business economics, we are trying to apply it. So this is application oriented. And this theoretical. Point number 2, what is its character? Obviously, in economics, we have both micro and macro. But in business economics, we have 90% we are concentrating only in microeconomics. And then what is the main task? Here, main task is to fulfill the needs of individuals. Here, business. And then nature, it is positive as well as normative. Normal economics consists of both positive and normative economics. But business economics in Varambur, the business needs you to take decision. So it's only normative in nature. Mark it as very important. Normative in nature, okay? Microeconomics and application. These are the most important keywords. And then it has a wider scope because it covers both micro and macro. So it has a wider scope when it comes to scope. Inge the comparatively narrow scope. And then last point, we have come to the last point, branches. Business economics as its, it has business economics as its applied branch. இது ஒரு branch. ஏங்க இப்படிலாம் குழப்பறீங்க? This is one branch. This is wholesome. That's all. So what is most important? It is applicative in nature. It's application oriented. Microeconomics, normative. It applies only to business, and it is comparatively narrow in its scope, and it is an applied science. அவ்வளவுதான், முடிஞ்சிருச்சு. First unit over. Give a big round of applause for me, for you, for both of us who has carefully, unscathed, we have sailed through unit number 1. So when we first move unit number 1, unit number 2 in chapter 1, it will be a bit difficult because now only we're getting to know each other, getting to know the subject, and we're sailing through. But when it comes to chapter 2, chapter 3 and all that, it is all more vibrant, super exciting. There it comes with a lot of topics, lot of concepts. It is very, how do you call that? It's interactive in reality. In web classes also, it's very interactive. But this forms a very foundation and it contains a lot of theory. You can't mess with it. You can't just like that leave it. Okay, it's all theory. I will read it in the last moment. No, it won't work at all. These are the places, or these are the chapters you should give importance right from the beginning, so that repetitively when you revise it before the exams, you will be hassle free. Okay, thank you so much for attending the classes, and I'm so happy that we have successfully completed unit 1 today. Actually, I wanted to finish both the units today, but with the speed and with the coverage of topics, I did not want to rush it up. So we have completed unit number 1, and unit number 2 is pretty easy because it's all about capitalism, socialism, mixed economy. For capitalism, I'll give you some 10 points. Socialism 10 points, mixed economy 10 points. That's all. Second unit will be over. Okay, so first unit we have successfully finished. So give a round of grab a round applause for you and for me. Okay, thank you so much. I'll meet you in my next class. We will go ahead with second unit, and I have marked a lot of examples here. I literally wanted to share it with you, but today I don't have the energy in me to explain it to you, but I'll definitely use all these examples in the upcoming sessions with the different topics so that you will not miss out on anything. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience in attending economics classes, which is generally bound to be very boring. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. Take care.